Welcome to The Relay, a podcast from Gulf Relay where we dive behind the scenes of our operations, teams, and industry.
Hey guys, welcome back to The Relay. My name is Maddie Cook and I am the Director of Customer Success here in Clinton for the Asset Division of Gulf Relay. With us?
Bryce Peacock, Director of Operations for the Asset Division in Clinton. Maddie, why don't you give us some updates on what you've seen over the last couple of months here?
Okay. To really understand the current market environments that we are seeing now, we have to understand the history of it. How did we get here? What happened from the big booms of 2021 and 2022 to now? So everybody remembers the COVID-19 pandemic. It caused massive supply chain issues. China had multiple lockdowns, far more than America did. And as the bulk of manufacturing really is in China and over in Asia, what those extended and repeated lockdowns did is cause a delay of goods and services on the import side of things. So basically, there wasn't a lot of freight flowing into America. So when lockdowns lifted and as they started producing again and shipments started coming in, what you had was an extreme crisis of needing capacity. Our ports were flooded. Our warehouses were full. At one point we got to where they were just taking freight straight off a ship, putting it on a truck. They skipped the warehouses because the warehouses were full. So as a result of that really crushed capacity, you had 109,000 plus new trucking companies enter the market in 2021. We refer to that as crisis capacity. It was a crisis. The CARES Act injected a lot of free cash back into America's pockets. A lot of individuals used that cash to start up their own businesses of being an owner-operator. So they bought a truck, they bought a trailer, small 1 to 2 truck fleets, and you saw that extra 109,000 plus. That's just MC numbers. So MC numbers can have anywhere from 1 to 20 trucks, typically is what we're talking about. You're talking a lot of extra trucks and extra trailers in this market. So as the warehouses unloaded and the shipments got out and the ports caught back up, you see all of this freight coming out from here, seeing it start to level out, going back to where it was pre-COVID levels. We still have all of those trucks and trailers in the market from before. The economy is level, it's fine, but there's still that surge of capacity. Again, this is 2021, 2022. We are seeing a little bit of an economy dip sort of in 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, I'll take you through where we are currently in the market. And we saw a lot of, like Maddie mentioned, a lot of uptick in capacity, right? A lot of new folks come into the market, started their own company, want to be their own businessman, and that's great, right? But at the end of the day, when the market dips down and that additional freight falls off, those people are left to run the additional loads, right? Well, there's no additional loads, starts kind of dragging the market down. They'll take loads for cheaper. Their costs are lower than a company's, whatever it may be. But at a certain point, you start to see the economy level out, right? And that's what Maddie mentioned. When we get to a point where the economy levels out, it's a stress point. They can't take any more of a dip in the market or those carriers have to start bowing out, right? Well, that's what we've seen. A lot of those extra 1 and 2 truck operations, 1 trailer, 1 truck, have started to kind of bow out of the market now. I think we've hit the floor. When I say the floor, I mean, you've seen the big spike during COVID and then now the freight's kind of dipped down. I think we've hit that absolute bottom floor and are starting to bounce up. What that means for us, right? You heard Andy say in one of his Ask Andy meetings about summer, spring type freight starting to move. Hopefully we'll see that pretty quickly. We've started to see it move a little bit. Freight numbers are coming back up. Where we are currently is we have a reefer capacity that is still not unleashed into a reefer market. And let me explain that just a little bit. So we have dry vans here in the Southeast. What are our normal running lanes? The Midwest, the Southeast, the Northeast. A few loads to California every once in a while, few and far between. But what has happened is you have a lot of that reefer capacity that has not gone into a reefer market. The Northern California issues with flooding, the ice storms, whatever it may be, reefer season is delayed. So those reefer carriers have not only stayed in dry van freight, but they have come from a different market down into our own Southeast, Midwest, Northeast markets to try to find additional freight because it's not pumping on the West Coast. So that being said, Maddie, you can explain a little better than I can as far as what are the outlook on the reefer season? What is it going to do? Where is it headed?
So for those of you that are wondering why we are touching on the reefer market, what does it have to do with Gulf Relay as we are a strictly dry van company? Basically, for those of you that don't know, any shipment that can fit in a dry van, for the most part, unless it is stacked all the way to the ceiling, can fit in a reefer trailer. The refrigerated trailer, the unit doesn't have to be on. The only difference is that you have to have about 6 to 8 inches of clearance at the top for that chute to come down and pump air in. Also, the walls are going to be thicker due to the insulation. But like Bryce mentioned, because of the weather, we're looking at about a 60-ish delayed day start out of the true produce season in Northern California. The seeds have just sort of been planted really recently. They haven't grown yet. Normally they would be growing and shipping already, and we'd be in that. So as a result of that, as a result of the downtick in the economy, the California carriers are left with nothing to haul. And so the California carriers, like Bryce mentioned, they are sending their trucks all the way to, they're sending them to Texas and east. They're sending them east. So normally we have to deal with our own amount of reefer carriers in our southeastern market anyways, because they can haul dry freight during the slower produce season of Florida. But this year it's an additional stress because of the situation out in California.
Yeah, absolutely. And what that means for kind of what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, right? Our freight network is that, number one, service is imperative, okay? And I'll let Maddie touch base on that here in just a moment because it's really her realm, but I want to make sure that we're clear to everyone that's here that our customer base is judging us harder than they ever have. Where, as she mentioned, we had that COVID crisis. They'd take their freight at any point in time, bring it in, don't care when you get here, I just need the freight, right? It's no longer that market, okay? Warehouses are getting full. You miss your delivery appointment. People are telling you, oh, well, we don't really need this anyway. Reschedule it for next week. We'll see them next week. I'll tell you, that's a hard touch for a small trucking operation. Somebody of our size, it's a little better because we have drop trailers. We can push and move and pull as we need to. That's a benefit for us, right? For a smaller trucking company, I can tell you it is detrimental. Okay, when you have a shipment that you have one truck and one trailer, and you arrive with your one truck and one trailer and you can't unload until the following week, you either got to do one of two things. You've got to drop your trailer and go lease another trailer to try to keep moving, find a power-only move, and that's hard right now. Equipment's hard to come by. So service is imperative. And Maddie, can you give me just a breakdown of what customers are seeing in service expectations right now?
Absolutely. They're expecting you to really be there on the minute that they request. Just to give you a little bit of a real-world example that I've personally seen, some of you may be aware of the Michaels Project, the dedicated fleet that we have in New Jersey. I've been lucky enough to go up 2 years in a row on site to visit that DC in Berlin, New Jersey, which is one of their main 2 DCs. Out of the entire Michaels companies, the craft stores, they have 2 DCs, one in Berlin, New Jersey, one in Tracy, California. This DC is huge. In 2021, when I went, it was completely empty. They were begging for freight. There was nothing in there. I went last year and it was busting at the seams. A lot of it was with 2021 product that had been so heavily delayed. As that relates to what we're talking about with service, they don't really need it. They have the warehouse full. So if you miss your appointment by, it's not as strict as a minute, but a lot of them are as strict as a 30-minute window. And if you happen to miss that, they don't technically need your product. They have another truck with it later on. So that means that they can reschedule this, to the week. It's truly the next available appointment that they have on their scheduling. It has nothing to do with the product that you have on your trailer.
So uber important, be on time, plan ahead. But other than that, thank you, folks.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.